Title: Whispers at Willow Creek Station. Willow Creek Station hadn't seen a passenger train since 1982. The building still stood, half-rotted, overtaken by vines and silence. Most locals never talked about it. Some said it was haunted. Others claimed the tracks led nowhere. But to Thomas Rourke, a freelance urban explorer from Chicago, it was the kind of place that made for viral content. He arrived late one October afternoon, camera gear in hand, hoping to film a spooky walkthrough for his YouTube channel. The air was thick, unmoving. The birds had gone quiet as he stepped onto the cracked concrete platform. The sign was rusted, barely readable. Willow Creek Station, EST 1907 *. A heavy door creaked open into a lobby frozen in time. Dust-covered benches. Cracked tiles. A broken vending machine humming faintly, even though the power had been cut decades ago. And then came the whisper. Not loud. Not threatening. Just a breath near his ear. You came back. Asterisk. Thomas spun around. No one. He thought it was wind. Or nerves. He pushed forward, deeper into the station, where darkness swallowed his flashlight beam. Unbeknownst to him, his camera had already stopped recording. Thomas stepped through the rotting archway, his boots crunching over shattered glass. The conductor's office stood to the left, a boxy glass room with yellowed windows and a warped wooden door. Curious, he pushed it open. It creaked loud enough to echo. Inside, it smelled of old ink and mildew. A single desk, covered in papers and train logs, sat under a dust-caked window. A faded photo of a conductor with an unreadable name tag lay in a cracked frame. He brushed the dust aside and opened the ledger. Most pages were worn and faded. But one entry stood out, strangely fresh ink on a page dated October 12, 1982. One more due to arrive. He doesn't know he's late. Asterisk. Thomas blinked. Was this some kind of prank? Suddenly, the air grew heavy. Asterisk silent. Too silent, asterisk. The windows began to fog from the inside, even though it was dry and cold. His camera battery dropped from 60% to 0% instantly. Then, click, 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 asterisk. The old typewriter on the corner desk, untouched until now, began to type. Slowly. Deliberately. T. H. O. M. A. S. Asterisk. His name. Okay, I'm done, he muttered and turned to leave. Slam, asterisk. The office door shut behind him with a bang. The overhead lights flickered to life, buzzing unnaturally. A shadow passed across the glass wall, but no one was there. He grabbed the handle and forced the door open. As he stepped out, everything behind him fell dark again. No buzzing lights. No typing. The ledger? Gone. Back in the hallway, Thomas checked his camera. Corrupted footage, asterisk. And then he noticed something that made his skin crawl. On the screen, in the last frozen frame, a blurry conductor stood right behind him. Thomas stumbled through the narrow hallways of Willow Creek Station, off the chill in his spine. He told himself it was just a draft, faulty wiring, maybe even leftover energy from decades ago. Still, his hands were shaking. At the far end of the corridor, he found a metal gate with a faded sign above it. Lower platform, restricted, asterisk. His curiosity got the best of him. With effort, he forced the gate open, revealing a staircase leading down into total darkness. As he descended, the air grew damp and heavy, like a tomb. The walls were lined with old train schedules, torn and water-stained. Some bore red cancelled stamps, others were completely blacked out. The lower platform looked like a place lost to time. Vines cracked through the concrete. Broken benches. But strangest of all, a single train car sat silently on the track star. Not rusted. Not abandoned. Clean. Polished. Lights on inside, asterisk. Against all logic, the train doors opened with a soft hiss. Inside, rows of empty seats. Silent passengers, mannequins, maybe? No, they looked too real. Pale faces. Closed eyes. No breath. Frozen in time. Thomas backed away. That's when a conductor stepped out from the far end of the car, old-fashioned uniform, skin stretched too tight, eyes sunken and black. "You're late, Mr. Rourke." Asterisk. Thomas ran. He didn't stop until he was back upstairs, only to find the main doors sealed shut behind chains that hadn't been there before. And a chilling voice echoed over the station speaker. "Final boarding call, passenger Thomas Rourke." Asterisk. Thomas paced the main lobby, breath shaky, camera useless. The doors were chained shut, the windows too high and barred. He was trapped. He pulled out his phone, no signal, no service, not even the time showing. His watch had stopped at 11:32 p.m., the same time the last train supposedly derailed here in 1982. Suddenly, the station clock above the main gate ticked forward with a loud clang. 11:33 p.m. asterisk. The platform beneath his feet rumbled. He turned. Through the cracked glass of the front window, he saw it again. The same train car. Clean. Lit. Slowly pulling in, asterisk. He stumbled back, heart racing. A voice echoed through the speaker again. Final boarding. All passengers must return. Asterisk. Thomas ran down the corridor, back toward the lower platform. He had to escape. Maybe the train could take him out of this nightmare. He didn't care where, just away. But when he reached the stairwell, something was wrong. It had changed. The walls were now lined with portraits, old photos of people staring straight at him. Some were scratched out. Others looked eerily like people he'd seen online, missing persons from across decades. One photo made him freeze. It was him, asterisk. Same clothes. Same backpack. Same face. Underneath. Thomas Rourke arrived October 12, 2023. Departed, asterisk. His exit was blank. The stairs creaked beneath him as he descended, heart hammering. At the bottom, the train door was open again. But the seats now weren't empty. They were filled with real people. Or at least, what was left of them. Still. Silent. Wide-eyed, asterisk. And in the reflection of the train window, he saw himself stepping inside. But he hadn't moved. Thomas stood frozen before the train door, haunted by the photo of himself in the hallway. Every instinct screamed to run, but there was nowhere to go. Behind him, the corridor was now just blackness. With shaking hands, he stepped onto the train. It was quiet. Too quiet. The air smelled like smoke and old iron. The lights flickered above as he walked down the narrow aisle, passing the passengers, unmoving, their eyes open, as if caught in the moment of death. He found an empty seat, but on it lay a folded piece of paper. It was the passenger manifest. He unfolded it slowly. Name after name, dated over 4 decades. All marked boarded, none marked departed. Near the bottom, Thomas Rourke, status, pending, asterisk. The train lurched. Lights dimmed. Through the window, he saw the station platform begin to fade, like mist being pulled away in the wind. Then everything outside went black. No tunnels. No city. Just an endless, cold void. Suddenly, a voice from the front of the train echoed again. Now departing. Willow Creek Line. No return. Asterisk. Thomas ran forward, past the pale passengers. The train car seemed longer now. Endless. Repeating. Doors leading to more of the same. Until finally, he reached the conductor's cabin. He threw open the door. And saw himself. Not a reflection. Another version of him asterisk, in the conductor's chair, dressed in the same black uniform, eyes cold and distant. That version of Thomas simply said, "Every station needs someone to stay behind." Asterisk. And then everything went black. Thomas was frozen, staring at the train window where his reflection moved on its own, stepping into the train while he stood motionless on the platform. He looked down. His feet were planted. He hadn't stepped forward. But the train door was still open, beckoning. Then, the lights inside the train dimmed, revealing the passengers more clearly. They weren't asleep. They were trapped, eyes wide open, unmoving, like statues of fear. One by one, their eyes turned toward him. Suddenly, a hand reached out from the train, the conductor. His fingers were blackened, skin stretched over bone. "You've been expected, Mr. Rourke. Willow Creek doesn't forget." Asterisk. Thomas backed away, stumbling. He turned to run, but the station had shifted again. No staircase. No lobby. Only train tracks behind him, and a brick wall where the entrance once stood. He was completely enclosed. He heard the distant screech of another train, but there was no light. No sound except for the conductor's fading voice. "The final ride isn't always the one we choose, it's the one that remembers us." Asterisk. Then, darkness. And the low rumble of an approaching train coming from beneath the platform. The ground vibrated. A metallic clang echoed below his feet. Thomas looked down and realized. There was a second track, hidden beneath the main platform. And from that track, a train was coming. Not new. Not lit. Burned. Twisted. Screaming, asterisk. Not the escape he'd hoped for. Thomas sat frozen in the conductor's chair, staring at the empty control panel. His reflection in the cracked glass looked pale and tired, yet somehow, different. Like someone else was trapped behind those eyes. Suddenly, the train lurched forward, pulling away from the invisible platform and into the endless void. Outside, nothing but darkness and distant echoes. Time lost all meaning. A whisper filled the cabin. "You are the new keeper. The station demands it. No one leaves Willow Creek." Asterisk. Thomas tried to stand, to shout, to run, but his body didn't respond. The chair gripped him like iron. Visions flashed before his eyes. Passengers who'd boarded over the decades, never leaving. Silent faces trapped in endless journeys. The train slowed, arriving at a platform bathed in eerie moonlight. Thomas looked out and saw the faces of past keepers, waiting silently. He realized the terrible truth. Willow Creek was not a station, but a prison, asterisk. And now, he was part of the curse, destined to watch over the lost souls and never leave. The door hissed open, and Thomas stepped out into the cold night. But this time, he was not alone. Behind him, the train vanished. The station disappeared. Only the whisper remained. "Welcome to Willow Creek. Your journey never ends." Asterisk. The end.